At the Global Liver Institute, we believe it all starts with a patient. So what happens when a patient, a liver patient no less, one of the 500 million people living with conditions that often go undiagnosed, untreated, or misdiagnosed, mistreated, and stigmatized, brings the challenges of liver patients front and center? And what happens when a patient then leads a discussion with world experts in policy, research, clinical care, and wellness on ways to overcome these challenges? Let's find out today on GLI Live.
Hello and welcome to the GLI Live audience. I am Donna Cryer, your host for today and these episodes. I've been so excited for this whole month of episodes on things that bring me joy. And they may not be the things that, bring joy to a normal person, but to a long-term patient advocate, there are certain things like making sure a new way of thinking about treating liver disease is something that brings me joy, because I know it will manifest in changing lives, in saving lives, like similar innovation has saved and changed mine. So this episode is one that brings me joy. And my guest today is one who brings me joy every time I speak with him. He is Dr. Steven Katz. He is a practicing surgical oncologist and the Chief Medical Officer of TriSalus Life Sciences. Dr. Katz, welcome.
Donna, thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show with you and to have this conversation. Thank you so much for everything you do and everything Global Liver Institute does on behalf of patients with liver cancer. And your own story is such an inspiration to me and everybody at TriSalus, and we couldn't be more excited for this collaboration.
Fantastic. I was recently privileged enough to receive a Founders Award by Global Genes, by an organization that I respect dearly. And when I thought about what it takes to be a founder, certainly it is a measure of courage and imagination, but without the support, without the partnership, without somebody who says, I believe in your vision too, and I'll help you make it come true. It just stays that, a dream, a vision. So I really do thank you and your colleagues at TriSalus for partnering with the Global Liver Institute. And one of the reasons that we could partner so easily and so quickly is because we share a common belief in the centrality of the liver. That's something that, I want everybody to believe worldwide, and we're making progress. But tell us about what in your background and research it's caused you to, embrace that belief of the centrality of the liver.
I mean, so many things. I think it all comes down to my experiences in caring for patients. As a surgical oncologist, I had the privilege to work with some of the very best physicians and scientists, and above all else, the privilege to care for patients with liver tumors. And every time I would care for a patient in the operating room, I would visualize the tumor, hold the tumor in my hands, and it was just so frustrating to me how many patients would develop tumors in their liver or have tumors spread from other sites like the colon to the liver. Why did this happen so often? Why is the liver such a frequent site for cancer to develop? Why were these tumors, or are these tumors, so difficult to treat? And why are liver cancer patients not benefiting from some of the recent advances in cancer care or oncology care, like immunotherapy, using the immune system, or stimulating the immune system to allow patients to fight their cancer and get rid of it? And that's really when I decided to devote my career to understanding why the immune system is not working as well in the liver, or why it's driving the development of cancer, and why it's preventing patients from responding to treatments like immunotherapy or treatments in general. And that's what really drove me to focus on trying to answer those questions. And what we learned, and what so many other scientists and clinicians have learned, is that the liver is a very unique organ. It is really unlike anything else in our body, and it probably does not receive the attention it deserves. And I know you agree with that, Donna.
I do. You know, we've been talking about creating a program or podcast, and our friend in that wants to call it chopped liver, because it doesn't receive any respect, as Rodney Dangerfield would say, and I keep telling him, no, it can't be called that. but that understanding that liver diseases and liver cancer have not gotten the attention that they would warrant, given their prevalence and the impact they have on families and communities. You know, there are hospitals and cancer centers where GI and liver cancers are their number one cancers, and they don't talk about it. You know, you would not know that at their board level. You would not know that throughout their institutions, because so many other cancers get attention, and they deserve attention too. But I'm just saying, for the liver and the expanded view of liver cancer that you've just laid out, not just primary liver cancer, but cancers that may start in other areas that metastasize to the liver, and cancers even that may be driven by processes in the immune system that connect to the liver, is a much more numerous set of patients than people really contemplate.
It is. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, well north of 100,000 patients a year in the US, if you consider primary liver cancer and metastatic liver cancer. And I thought I might just spend a moment on talking about, you know, why the liver doesn't receive the attention it needs. And,
Please.
You know, what are some of the issues we can focus on together to make sure we can help more of these patients and develop better treatment options for them that so many desperately need. The liver is a complicated organ. It's unlike any other in our body, where there's not one thing that it does that we can easily grasp and understand, like the heart. It pumps blood. I think most people understand that. And it does other things, but it primarily does that. The liver does a myriad or a very large number of vitally important things for our bodies that are so critical to maintaining health. The liver makes bile, which helps us digest foods and absorb nutrients. The liver makes clotting factors that make sure we can stop bleeding if we're injured. The liver stores vitamins. It plays a critical role in metabolism, meaning how we process and use sugars and fats and proteins. The liver is remarkable in that it can regenerate. As a surgeon, I can take out up to 2/3 of a healthy liver, and within weeks, the volume's restored. It grows back. But above all else, and I think this is the area that is probably the most poorly understood, is the liver is central to the function of our immune systems, to maintaining a healthy immune system. And that really is all about balance. And I know you understand this, Donna, because if the immune system isn't working well, then we might develop infections or cancer, because our immune systems are designed to help us fight those things, like bacteria and viruses, which we're all too familiar with for the last 2 years. But if the immune system is hyperactive, then patients can develop autoimmune disease or inflammatory diseases. And so we really need the immune system in the liver to be at the right balance. The challenge for cancer patients is that within the liver, the immune system is programmed in such a way to be subdued or quiescent or suppressed. And there's an important reason for that, because everything we eat passes through the liver. And in our intestinal tracts, we have a lot of bacteria, and these pass through the liver as well. So we don't want our immune systems in the liver. We don't want immune cells in the liver to be responding too vigorously all of the time. So this is a good state of affairs for daily existence. But for patients who develop liver cancer, this becomes a very significant problem because the liver shuts down the immune system. Cells like T cells and B cells, which help us fight infection and cancer, are turned off in the liver so that cancers can develop there, they can grow there, and patients are unable to respond to treatments like immunotherapies because the immune system is turned off.
And that's an aspect that I had never heard about, even given my long years of immunosuppression, is what they like to call it. I always knew intuitively that it was about finding the balance. And so I always refer to it as immunomodulation, trying to find that sort of sweet spot. As I emerged from having my colon removed just before it became cancerous, and then my liver transplant, and having been on immunomodulating agents post-transplant and for my remaining IBD for years, that concept, it always resonated with me, that there was more to the story that we were being told. And when IO therapies came on, that's an exciting day, but I felt like there's more to the story. And I think you're putting the missing pieces of the puzzle in place for people, of why their cancers did or didn't respond to therapies that may have, worked really great for other people, or why, cancers were recurring in some and not others. And also, what patients can be doing in, the totality of their lives to make their immune system, more receptive to the therapies that they're giving. And so just really providing a new lens in which to view the liver and cancer. This is why this is so exciting to me.
Yeah, and to us at TriSalus, and to me as a physician, these are critically important issues, because what we're learning and what the field as a whole is starting to recognize and acknowledge, and papers are being published with greater frequency, is that the immune system in the liver is very unique, and that when patients have tumors in their liver, when tumors spread to the liver, this in and of itself makes them less likely to respond to therapy just by virtue of having cancer in the liver. There is a systemic or a whole body effect where the immune system more broadly gets turned off and shut down. And so what's happening in the liver is indeed very unique relative to what we see at other sites in the body. And this is one of our goals for Liver Central, is we really want to promote awareness of this and drive education to develop a better understanding of this, because through that and through more research and getting patients more in tune with these issues, that's going to put all of us in a better position to develop better therapeutic options, better treatments for patients with primary liver cancer and metastases, tumors that spread to the liver.
I agree. So let's not hold people in suspense any longer. Let's give them a little view of what Liver Central is. Our fantastic producer will bring that up. So this is our new Liver Central website, and really meant to be a resource hub. And I'm going to start, and then you'll fill in sort of why it's different. From our point of view, it's different because, unlike how we had been presenting liver cancer resources before, we really wanted to make the shift towards helping people understand the most innovative research that was available, being able to more quickly find out and put into practice these concepts that we've been discussing. And so, we have a very broad Liver Cancers Council that has advocacy, medical society, and some, academic medical systems and cancer centers who are all involved. And so thinking through how we can serve all of those members, all of those stakeholders, we took a step back and thought, okay, we have people coming to us who are researchers and clinicians. And so how can we help them plug in more easily to research sites, research opportunities, so they can bring clinical studies to their sites, to their practices, in a way that frankly advances health equity, that makes more parts of the country available to participate in research. And you mentioned some of the fantastic literature. I mean, we know that there is just a swath of literature coming through every day. How can we sort of curate that and put some of the most interesting pieces forward? So that was a part of it. And then something that's always been very important to me as I, kept going along my now very long patient journey was that there were materials for new patients, basic information, but never something for experienced patients. Nothing for caregivers, nothing for the doctor or nurse that people, pulled in, or that, family member with some medical expertise that they typically, pulled in time of crisis to help us sort through, should I participate in a trial? What does this paper say? What options are available to me? And so to be able to provide some overlapping information for more experienced patients and caregivers so that they could help decipher and help navigate for the patient that they're caring for, or information beyond the basics. We wanted something there for them. I remember one of my doctor's offices had a big binder of literature in their office, and I just thought it was so exciting and so respectful of their patients, that they acknowledged that we always wanted to learn. And so while I was waiting, every time I went up there, I would, go through this binder and see what was there. And so this is that version of the binder for the patient or caregiver who wants to know more. And so that's what we think about by reinventing liver cancer education. The market will tell us if we're right, that we have reinvented or provided something of value. But I'm very excited to launch this today with you, and to have people's feedback on. Is this a better way of presenting information? Does this help them find what they were looking for easier? Did it present them with information that they didn't even know to look for? I think is really what would be exciting feedback. And what should we be adding to it? With everything at GLI, we're always, growing and trying to improve and iterate. So I really look forward to our full Liver Cancer Council, getting their hands on this, and the larger community will be going out to social media and to Facebook and Twitter and everywhere, really asking for people to take this out for a spin and saying, what should be here? What should the tomorrow's version of it look like? I'm just really excited to be able to have this level of resource for the community and for community engagement and ownership, so that we can create a culture of participation in liver cancer clinical trials from an expanded set of researchers and clinicians and an expanded set of patients. So few patients participate right now in liver cancer trials that it really is not just holding back research, but it's missed opportunities for people.
I couldn't agree more. We're so excited to be the founding sponsor and to collaborate with the Global Liver Institute and launching this and curating the content over time. And like you, our main goal is to really drive awareness. We want providers, scientists, and above all else, patients to understand why liver cancer is so unique in so many ways. Why the treatments, we believe, really need to be tailored for the unique aspects of the liver and liver cancer. And there are certain challenges that we think liver tumors pose that may not be present in other types of cancer. We've discussed the immune system being shut down in the liver. That's something that we're studying at TriSalus. We're looking at drugs that could potentially solve that problem, and we hope reverse the immune system dysfunction to allow patients to respond better to immunotherapy. And in addition to that, there are barriers with respect to drug delivery with liver tumors, which isn't something providers and patients and scientists think about on a regular basis. When you give a drug into an IV into somebody's arm or into a port, The reality is only a fraction of that drug is going to make it to the liver.
Right.
And then within the tumors, these tumors tend to have very high pressures, pressures that are far greater than what a patient's heart can generate, greater than the pressures that exist normally within blood vessels. So finding solutions, finding ways to ensure that we're delivering a sufficient amount of drug or therapeutic into these tumors, and making sure that the drug is tailored to the unique challenges within the liver, whether it's the immune system or another target, I think is an important goal of Liver Central, to just generate awareness of this. And Donna, as you said, really to help patients understand which clinical trials are available and may be most appropriate to them. All patients, but particularly in underserved communities where awareness may be limited, access to the medical centers may be limited. So driving this knowledge and this understanding is so crucial, and finding other ways to support patients so they can participate in clinical trials is critical as well, because it's quite an undertaking for patients and their families.
It is. Thank you, Kristen. So one of the things that we'll be building out in the support section of Liver Central is specific to participating in clinical research. What is the support that's necessary to stay in a trial that may be of some months or some length and duration? Certainly we'll have a list of things that you have to do as a patient. And I know that as hard as it is to accrue and enroll a patient in a trial, to be able to retain them all the way through a trial is important. For us to be able to have the high quality data to develop drugs that work for us. And so being able to help connect patients to other patients who have participated in trials, and just the strategies and the context to stay with it in the trial is another sort of difference of the type of support that we want to be able to give to people, to give them more confidence in making that choice to participate in a clinical trial for them and their family or caregiver, because it really is a full a full family or network participation, not just the individual. And so that's an important distinction in how we'll be setting up support. One of the things that spurred us to do that is just really the innovative way that you've set up your clinical research network, and how you support and enable sites to work with you on your trials. Would you like to discuss your innovative approach to supporting sites in clinical research?
Yeah, happy to do that. And we couldn't agree more as to how important this is, because when a patient decides to participate in a clinical trial, it takes a lot of courage, determination, motivation, and perseverance, as you said, to get through the study. One of the things that really inspired me when I was in academic medicine full time is, with every patient I enrolled in a clinical trial, every single one of them gave me the following top reason for their decision. And it was surprising to me at first, but it's just so motivating. And it was, they wanted to help other patients. They wanted to help patients in the future. They wanted to help advance the science and help advance the field. They wanted to be part of something bigger, which is, I think, a role Liver Central can really help play and facilitate. So that's something that I just wanted to point out, because I think it's so critical to understand the perspective patients come in with. And as to how we're setting up our trials, we've taken a multi-layered approach. One is making sure we develop the right science and the right clinical approach. We invest significantly, not only in doing the clinical trials, but in doing the hard basic science work to understand, or to get confidence that what we're doing, is potentially, hopefully, the right approach for these patients. And then it's also about developing very collaborative relationships with key academic sites and investigators. We spend a lot of time identifying investigators who have proven track record and sincere interest in the problems we're trying to solve for patients with liver cancer. And so developing and cultivating those relationships over time is absolutely critical and important. And in terms of supporting patients, which, as we've discussed, is vital to successfully completing a clinical trial and ensuring that patients can complete their journey. We're working with several vendors to support patients with logistics, travel, some of the financial considerations, helping to schedule their appointments up front, helping to identify the clinical trial sites that are closest to them or most appropriate for them in terms of having trials that could potentially meet their needs. So it's a multi-pronged or multi-layered approach, but it's very thoughtful and I think comprehensive. Again, starting with the science, developing the right clinical trial design, the right drug, we hope, the right device, and then partnering with the right sites, and then making sure the patients have as stress-free a journey as possible through the duration of the study.
That has been a large part of my life's work of decreasing the patient burden index, as I call it, of participating in clinical trials. And so I so appreciate the thoughtfulness that you and your team have taken to to your clinical research program. And that's one of the things that GLI sees as its role to encourage and to highlight when it's done well. I love to call attention to things that are done well, my reputation notwithstanding otherwise. But I really do appreciate the fact that Liver Central now will give us an opportunity to help patients understand, which trials are available to them, might be helpful to them, and why, whether it's based on their location, based on the stage of their disease, the type of liver cancer that they have, the other circumstances that they have going on. We really feel that, we haven't been, able as much as we would like to in a formal way to really leap into our support for research and clinical trials. And my background, having built a multicultural division for a clinical trial recruitment company, it's my heart to be able to advance research in this way, advance community participation in clinical research, and to create a better environment for innovation in therapeutic development. And so this really helps bring all of that together so we can help both researchers and the patients that they're trying to connect to find each other, do a better job, and hopefully do it at a rate so that it's the right patient finding the right trial for them. It's the right, trial finding the right patient faster, because so many cancer patients, of course, if you get that diagnosis, you want to do something immediately. But I say to them, you want to do the right thing, and you want to do what will preserve your optimal options along the entirety of your cancer journey. And sometimes participating in one trial would preclude options that you might want to preserve. And so helping them understand the options up front, that there are cancers of all these different trials of all these different types, and helping them understand their cancer better and the clinical research landscape better so that they can make good decisions, I think will increase the number of patients who are participating in trials, and increase the confidence of the community in participating and supporting wide swath of wonderful clinical research that's being done on innovative concepts like immunology in hepatology. So we are so glad that with Liver Central, livercentral.org, live today, that people can explore that, give us feedback. We thank you, Dr. Katz, for helping us introduce it to the world.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Again, we couldn't be more excited for this collaboration, and we look forward to having a meaningful impact on these patients and doing what we all want to do more than anything, which is helping to drive better therapeutic options.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Until next time.
Please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. Join us weekly on Wednesdays at noon Eastern Time for more episodes of GLI Live. Check out our website, globalliver.org, and follow us on social media to learn more about the Global Liver Institute and stay up to date with the latest in liver health. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and stay connected.